I own a lot of books, 862 to be exact. With that being said, there are a lot of them that I have not read yet. So I figured it's time for me to make a TBR cart. That way all the books that I have not read yet are in their own little designated area, looking at me every day and encouraging me to read them. I pulled a bunch of books off of my bookshelves that I haven't read yet. I figured I can go through them with you, share my physical TBR, and organize them on my TBR cart. I definitely want to sort everything by genre, so I think I'll probably do romance on the bottom, fantasy on the top, and sci-fi and dystopian books in the middle. Not everything is going to fall into those categories, and some stuff is going to be in multiple genres, but for the most part, that's what I'm going for. There are a lot of books, so let's get started. Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I've read Love on the Brain, which is also an Ali Hazelwood book, and I loved it. I also have The Love Hypothesis by her. I'm assuming I would like both of these just as much, just considering that I like her writing. But let's see what exactly these are about. Interesting. Okay, both of these are about fake dating. That'll be very interesting to read these and see how they're unique, since right off the bat that's popping out to me as them seeming kind of similar. But I'm just kind of skimming the descriptions on the back to give a brief synopsis of what these books are. Honestly, a lot of these books I have had passed down to me because my mom has read them, or I just picked them up when I was younger, not actually knowing what they were about. I feel like I used to buy a lot of books that were just popular at the time, assuming that meant I would like them too, and I now realize that's not the case. I do like popular books, but not all of them. So I'm more thorough when book shopping now. But honestly, I don't want to read too much about any of the books beforehand. I feel like it's kind of fun to just go into a book maybe having a general idea of the mood or the genre, but not knowing exactly what it's about. So our first books are going on the cart. Next, Love and Gelato. This is another romance book. I know it takes place in Italy. Beyond that, I don't know much about it. I have all 3 books in this series. I'm pretty sure they follow different characters, so I'm not sure if they have to be read in the order that they were published in, but I think they're kind of related, so it's probably best to. That's why I only pulled this one off my shelf. I'm only putting books that are the first in the series on the cart, or wherever I left off in the series if I had already started reading it. Anything else is on my shelves. So I haven't necessarily read all of those books. If it's in a series that I'm mentioning right now, then I probably haven't read it yet. I have more bookshelves around the room too, but most of my favorite books are on these ones. Another romance, so it's going on the bottom of the cart too. Going along with the theme of romance, Me Before You. I have seen this movie, loved it, but never actually read the book. I do have the sequel to this, and I'd like to read that, so I need to read the first book first. Even though I loved the movie, since I've already seen it, I'm very curious how that's going to change my perception of reading the book, because I already know exactly what's going to happen going into it. I love when books can really make me emotional, and this movie made me emotional, so we'll see if I still feel that way reading the book, even though I've already seen the movie. Hi. Have you come to keep me company in sorting my books? We've got a lot to go through. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is one that I actually know nothing about. I just know that it was popular, and that's why I bought it when I did. This is a romance. I kind of figured because it has husband in the title, but you never know. It has forbidden love in it. It's about a woman who was a Hollywood star. She is talking to a reporter and kind of looking back on her life. She had 7 husbands throughout her life, so this is going on the romance shelf. Restore Me. This is part of the Shatter Me series. I read the original trilogy and novellas, but there was another trilogy added after. I kind of read reviews and saw that it wasn't as good, so I stopped after the first trilogy, thinking maybe since I liked it so much I should just stop there and not ruin my perception of the entire story. But I am going to put this on my cart and give it a try for myself. That way I can see if I like it, even if the popular opinion was that it wasn't quite as good. Maybe even if it's not quite as good, that doesn't necessarily mean it was bad. So I do want to read this one. And this is a dystopian book. It's about a girl, Juliet, who basically can hurt or kill anyone who touches her. And it has romance in it as well, but I am going to put this in the middle on my dystopian and sci-fi shelf. 4 is part of the Divergent series. It has short stories from 4's perspective, obviously, given the name. So this is a dystopian book. I don't know exactly what the timeline is of the stories. I think it's a prequel. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I ever actually finished reading Allegiant. I read the trilogy before Allegiant was out. So by that point, I felt like I had waited so long for the release of it that I kind of had moved on from the series. And then I heard about the ending and I didn't really want to experience that. I like a good happily ever after. So in my mind, since that's how the movies are, that's how it was in the books. I don't think it makes sense for me to read Allegiant at this point because it's been so long unless I reread the whole series. But I do think it would be interesting to maybe start with the prequel and then I could reread the series later if I want to. This is going on the dystopian shelf. Chaos Walking. This is a movie as well. I have not seen the movie though, so that won't bias me at all when reading this book. It's a trilogy. I had no idea about that. It's about a dystopian world, basically dystopian or sci-fi, where everyone hears each other's thoughts and there are no women except one girl that this guy meets. I think I would really like that. That sounds really interesting. So that's going on the middle shelf. Hooked. This is a Peter Pan modern love story retelling between Wendy and Hook. In this, Wendy is actually Peter's daughter. This is part of the Never After series, so there are other books in it. I think the other books in this series are different characters, different fairy tales, but a similar idea. So this is going on the romance shelf. After I Do, also by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I feel like this one could be very sad, but I don't know. It's about a couple who's married, their marriage is falling apart, and they split up for a year, hoping that they'll come back after their break and fall in love again after having that time away to kind of discover themselves. On the back it says that the break changes the girl's ideas about monogamy, marriage, and she's questioning how you can have romance without fidelity and commitment without marriage. As someone who's married and who's never really liked the idea of taking breaks in a relationship even before marriage, I'm not going to be able to relate to this, but I think it'll be an interesting read. Or it's going to make me really sad, but we'll see. The American Roommate Experiment. This is a romance about a girl who is actually a romance writer. I feel like I have a lot more romance books than I thought. I do kind of want every book I read to have at least a little bit of romance, but a lot of these are just not really falling into any other genres as well. I think now the books that I prefer to read lean more in the romantasy direction than just straight romance on its own. But fantasy books can be very complex, very heavy, very long to read. So I do love having some good, simple, lighthearted romance books to read in between. Which begs the question of, am I gonna like books like After I Do that are not quite as lighthearted and make me feel sad? I don't know, but I own the book. So I'm gonna read it, or at least that's the goal. Since You've Been Gone, another romance book. This is about a girl whose best friend mysteriously disappears and left her behind a bucket list for the summer that basically directs her towards falling in love. This is a teen romance, so I don't know how I'll feel about that now that I'm a lot older. I guess I'm not that much older, I'm 24, but I am married with a child now, so I'm in a completely different life stage than when I bought this book, but we'll give it a try. H2O. This is a book about basically the end of the world. There's rain that's fatal, there's no drinking water, and a very small amount of the world's population is still alive. So this is a story of survival. I honestly think I really like stories like this based on the description of the plot alone. So hopefully I enjoy this. Scythe. This is another one where I have the whole series. I think my mom gave it to me, so I have no idea what it's about. I know that she enjoyed it, so I probably will too. We have pretty similar book tastes. But let's see. A world with no hunger, no disease, no war, no misery. Humanity has conquered all those things and has even conquered death. Alright. There's people who are scythes. Their job is to kill other people for population control. Sounds pretty dystopian to me. Love that. Sounds great. Not for real life, but for a book, yes. It's an important clarification. The Young Elites. This is by Marie Lu. She wrote the Legend series, which I really enjoyed when I was younger. This is another survival story. A disease killed a bunch of people, and the people who survived had powerful gifts. Honestly, I just read Fearless. That's kind of reminding me of that. Based on the description, I'd probably like this. We Were Liars. I actually have no idea what this is about. That's a very common theme to this, in case you haven't noticed. But I do know that they just made this into a TV show. Sounds kind of like a mystery, a thriller maybe. Oh, I'm on chapter 16. I don't remember ever reading this. Well, I'm definitely going to start from the beginning. I said I was going to put fantasy on the top. I don't know that I own that many fantasy books that I haven't read yet. So anything that kind of doesn't fit into the dystopian, sci-fi, or just pure romance categories, I'm gonna put these on top too. Wonder. This is also a movie. I feel like I used to read a lot of book to movie adaptations when I was 13. Basically every good book was made into a movie or would be talked about being made into a movie, and I think that's kind of how I picked what books I would read or what books I would buy and never end up reading, which is how I'm in this situation. But I heard good things about this. I think it's a really sad book. It's about a little boy who has a facial deformity, and so he looks different. He's entering 5th grade, and obviously 5th graders can be very mean. It's interesting because when I bought this book, I was closer to the character's age, but now I think when I read this, it's going to be very sad from the perspective of me being a mom, which honestly I feel like would be even more heart-wrenching. So I'll probably enjoy this. It'll break my heart, which any good book does. The book manages to do that. I feel like it's written well. So this will go on the top. The Darkest Minds. It says on here that this is also a movie. I don't think I've heard of the movie. Haven't seen it. Also, a mysterious disease that killed a bunch of people, leading to those who survived having special abilities. It's funny, a lot of these books are sounding the same just from that general plot idea. I don't know if that's what was written a lot at the time, or if that's just I liked that one thing and that's the only type of book I wanted to read. Dystopian books were definitely all the rage 10 years ago. So it could just be that everyone was writing the same thing. But it's going to be very interesting to compare these, especially now that I'm older. I feel like when you're 13 reading a book, I liked pretty much anything that I read. As long as it was dystopian, it had a little bit of romance, I loved it. Now that I'm older, I'm more understanding of the fact that there are so many books out there and not enough time to read all of them. So you really should only be reading the books that you're really enjoying and DNFing the ones that you don't. Even if a book is relatively good and has an interesting plot. There are a lot more factors to take into consideration while reading to decide if I actually like the book. I don't know if that even made sense. Basically, I can't read everything. A lot of these books sound the same, and it'll be interesting to see if they're actually good or if I just kind of liked the general plot or premise of the book. A Throne of Ruin. The only thing protecting me from the demons is the beast. Sounds kind of romantic-y. Things we never got over. Romance. This is one that I did not buy the whole series before reading the first book. I used to do that, just buy the whole series at once. Now I know better. I used to be very completionist, and even if I didn't love a book, I wanted to finish the whole series. Now I don't do that. So if I like this, then I'll read the rest of the series. This is about a runaway bride. Wildfire. This is the sequel to Icebreaker, which is a romance book. I did read the first one. I did like it. So I got the second one. It's another romance book, but it follows different characters. So the main male character in this was a side character in Icebreaker. There's actually a third book in this series now too. This book is about a couple of camp counselors. Seems like forbidden love because they're not supposed to date their co-workers. I'll probably enjoy this. I still have so many books to get through, so let's rapid fire some of these. 2050 Psycho Island. I'm assuming that's dystopian. Just based on the cover, they're crumbling buildings. Seed, probably also dystopian. The 100, this is dystopian and sci-fi. I love this TV show. It's actually my favorite TV show, so honestly the book will probably disappoint me just because it's hard to live up to the expectations of that. I do know that the TV show diverged pretty significantly from the book. I think the beginning was similar, but then it kind of went off and did its own thing, which I really enjoyed it. Some people didn't like the later seasons, but I did. But we'll see what I think of the book. The Fine Print, a romance with a billionaire. All the Light We Cannot See. The Summer I Turned Pretty. I've actually only seen a few episodes of the TV show. It is a love triangle between two brothers. I don't know which one she chooses, so that hasn't been spoiled for me. I should put some books in the back because the bottom of the romance shelf is completely full. Beach Read. Emily Henry wrote this book. She is a very popular romance author. I have not read any books by her yet. This would be my first one, but she has a lot more books, so if I like this one, I'll read some others by her too. 30. This is a romantic thriller by Colleen Hoover. I've only read It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us by her, and I did enjoy those books. I know people have very mixed feelings about her, but I thought It Ends With Us was very moving. Since this is thriller, not just romance, I'm gonna move it to the top shelf. I feel like that's kind of a different category. The Inheritance Games. This is kind of reminding me of a book I read. I think 39 Clues. Is that what it's called? From the description, it's reminding me of that. Putting this on the top. The Girl Who Dared to Think. That sounds like it would be dystopian. The Gender Game. Those books are by the same author, but two different series. Throne of Glass. I have read the ACOTAR series, except for the last book in the series. I loved that, so I probably like Throne of Glass too. It's a very long series though, with a lot of books, and each of the books themselves have a lot of pages. So I feel like that is a big investment to get into. Hopefully worth it though. I've heard good things. The Nightingale. This book is set around World War II. A Man Called Ove, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, and Anxious People. Both of these are Frederick Bachman books. I've never read a book by him, but I know he's very popular. A Court of Silver Flames. Like I mentioned, I have not read this. It's the last book of the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. I actually tried reading this and DNF'd it. That was a year ago. I remember thinking that it probably would be a really good book. I just didn't have the right expectations going into it, and that made me disappointed. So this book is from Nesta's perspective, and I thought it was a continuation of all the other books about Feyre and Rice Sand. So when I was reading it, I just wanted more of their relationship, and that's not what the book's about. It's also from third person, I think, and I remember thinking that that was weird and I didn't like it. Are the other books first person? They must be. Now I need to check. Yeah, okay. So Akatar and the other books are first person, which I really enjoy because it makes you feel like you're there, seeing things directly from the character's perspective. I feel like I could relate more to the characters when a book is written that way. So not only was A Court of Silver Flames about different characters, but it was in a different writing style, and I found that very off-putting. I don't think that this book was bad by any means, it's just that I was surprised. So I do want to give this a second chance. Also by Sarah J. Maas, Crescent City. This book is huge. Honestly, it intimidates me just to look at this. How many pages is it? Almost 800. That's crazy. If you've read Crescent City, is it actually worth it? This is a very long book. I also don't know if there's a particular order to whether or not I read Crescent City or Throne of Glass first, or if they're completely unrelated. The Program and Quarantine the Loners. Both of these, again, are about deadly viruses, end of the world type of situations. I have a lot more books about that than I knew, so I imagine I'm gonna get pretty tired of that topic pretty fast. It is a good topic, I just wonder if it's gonna feel like they're all talking about the same thing, or if I'll enjoy it anyways. We'll see. The book cart is really coming together. There are not too many books left to go through. Six of Crows. I think this is a TV show. Red Queen. This is a fantasy book. Caraval. This one says it has arranged marriage, a disappearing sister. There's a competition of games. This is gonna go on the top. The top shelf is completely full now. Everything left is gonna go in the back of the second and the bottom shelves. Hopefully these all fit. 50 Shades of Grey, romance. Evermore, this is about a girl who hears people's thoughts when she touches them. For the Wolf, this is a fantasy book. I can't fit it on the top, so I'm gonna put it in the middle. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I have read this, but it's been a very long time, and I've never read the entire Harry Potter series. This is my 5th time trying. I got to the 3rd book, then I gave birth 6 months ago, and I have not picked it back up since. So instead of starting over again, I'm gonna pick back up at where I left off. The furthest I've ever gotten is the 5th book out of the 7. I think that's Order of the Phoenix. I believe that might be the longest book, or at least it's where it starts getting really long. I've seen the movies once, but I love the world. I love the story. I just don't have the patience to read the entire series straight through. Stalking Jack the Ripper and Lady Macbeth. I got both of these around Halloween and then never actually read them. So they're going on the TBR card. Red Rising, I might read this one next. I am going to a book club in July about this book. I've had it on my bookshelf forever, and that's a good excuse to read it. So I'm either reading this one next or Silver Elite. I just got that one from the library. It's a dystopian romance book. I don't know which one I'm gonna read first, but those will be my next 2 books that I do read. From Blood and Ash, The Testing, and last but not least, Shadow and Bone. This is also a Netflix TV show. Have not seen the show though. The TBR cart is complete. It's super heavy and difficult to move, but it's packed with books on the front and the back. So it'll be good to finally work on reading these books. Every month I'm going to use a TBR prompt jar to select which of these books I'm going to read next. If you've read any of these books, tell me your favorites in the comments, because honestly, apart from the TBR jar, I don't know where to start with this cart. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to hear me yap more about books, be sure to subscribe. I also have an Instagram account that I'll have linked in the description if you want to see me talk about books on there too. Bye!